What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Third and Longhorn. Today, we are previewing number 3 Texas against Arkansas. And I've got to my left, Jeremy Hills. To my left, Rob Babers. To my right, Fozzy Whittaker, Derrick Johnson, and Alex Okafor. I'm Nick Shuley, and we're going to get right into it. Just some quick notes on the game. Start off, shout out to the women's soccer team. I know everybody's going to shout out. But first SEC championship. We're going to get Angie Kelly on here soon, so we'll make that happen. And then, so as we mentioned, Texas moves up to number 3. The overall series history with Arkansas, Texas leads 56-23, with the last meeting coming in 2021, where Arkansas beat number 15 Texas 40-21. A lot of us remember that and have tried to strike that from our memories. Arkansas comes into the game at 5-4, 3-3 in the SEC. They have wins over Arkansas, Pine Bluff, UAB, Auburn, Tennessee, and Mississippi State, and losses to Oak State, Texas A&M, LSU, and Ole Miss. And before we get into the actual game part of it, Rod, you said something really good on your show on the Rodcast that I think is something we kind of forget. This is the first time we're going to play a true rival on the road, I think, since the last time we played them, just because most of our rivalry games in recent years have been neutral sites. Yeah,
because Texas OU is always at, obviously, Texas State Fair, and we don't play Oklahoma anymore. Well, we didn't play A&M anymore. Oklahoma was our only true rival, and, of course, we're getting Arkansas back as a conference rival now. And that's different, guys. It's a different emotional charge, having to go to a rival's place and having to deal with that emotional volatility. And Sark talked about that. So I think I'm grateful, actually, for the butt whipping that Texas got in 2021 now, because they understand that emotional charge. And the truth is, we talk about this, Oklahoma, we talk about Arkansas. Arkansas, there's that old adage that Texas and Arkansas, I think both of them share, that Arkansas hates Texas more than they love themselves, right? And Sark talked about that, and Sam Pittman got into it too. But the truth is, they use that emotional charge, or at least they have used it in recent matchups with Texas, I think, to their advantage. And they've used it to a more advantageous nature than Texas has. And maybe because Texas, for them, they don't really know what the rivalry is about, because it wasn't a conference rivalry at the time, and Texas-Oklahoma kind of dominates the psyche for Longhorn fans in terms of rivals, and you don't have the Aggies, or at least you're getting them back this year. So I think it is important that the guys, I think Sark said there are 11 guys on this team right now. They were on that team in 2021. They went down to Fayetteville and got their butts kicked. I think that's important, so these guys understand the emotional charge that Arkansas is going to come out there with, because there's no doubt about it. It allows them to play at a higher level. I know it sounds crazy, and that's why Sark always talks about playing with emotion but not playing emotional. They do a great job of playing with emotion and riding the high of it when they play Texas, because for them, this is their Super Bowl. There's no doubt about it.
Well, let's back up. What did you say? They hate Texas more than they love themselves.
That seems to be the case.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Fayetteville?
I don't want to go. I've heard stories.
You live in Austin.
Yeah.
They sound like a good old hater to me. Yeah. They got good reason to hate.
Man, that I will tell you what, that place though, that place is rowdy. It's loud.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Big time.
It's. I mean, it's the real deal, and they do hate it. This is going to be a true SEC nasty road environment.
Sure.
Here we go.
But you got to play football at some point.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
Yep. The truth is that this 2024 team is not that 2021.
But ask Tennessee though. Well, Tennessee rolled in there. Ask them how that went.
No doubt. And I watched Tennessee. I watched Tennessee and Florida as well.
Yeah.
So we can cherry pick games, or we can say this is not the 2021 Texas team, and Arkansas got to play this team.
Agreed.
So I'm with you, rowdy fans. They probably closed the bakery down the day before and been drinking all night. You know, whatever the case been going on in good old Fayetteville on a Friday night. I don't know. All I'm saying is when them boys in them icy whites come down that tunnel, you got to line it down and play football. So thinking about, like, in that mindset, I'm saying, do you cut the tape on and say, I'm scared of that team? I'm scared of the team in red with the pig on the front. That's the one I'm scared of.
No, not this year.
I don't think so.
And that's a great point. Both teams, this is going to be pretty cool. Both teams are going to show that 21 tape, right? Arkansas is going to play it and say, hey, look, this is who they are, you know. It wasn't that, you know, Sark was still the coach and all that hoopla, which is deceptive, you know, that we know. But we're going to put it on too. Just to remind us, guys, hey, we got a bad taste in our mouth. We're not the same team. We're a lot better. But this right here would never happen again. And I was walking in the facility today and saw Bender. I say, hey, you was here when, you know, I talked to David Bender. As soon as I said you was here when y'all went to Arkansas, he said, oh, he just was like, no, yeah, that's a bad stain. So that memory, I think is going to help Texas to go down there with the guards up. Obviously, we're a better team than Arkansas, right? But we're not going to go down there with our guards down. We're going to go with them up, and hopefully at the end of the game it'll be a home game for us because our fans will still be there.
To that point, and Rod, with nobody having, I guess, a ton of experience, like you mentioned, only 11 of the guys on the roster, the unique perspective that Jay Hills probably can give whenever he played against them in the Southwest Conference.
Long ago.
It's probably the best type of experience that we can get. You met Nixon in '69, right? Whenever they played in the championship.
Oh, that's him in that photo?
Wow.
Okay.
I think that was him.
It
So
was a good year.
Wow.
to that point, closing down the bakery, you've been there before. You've seen what that looks like. And I think that's a truly unique perspective that only Jay Hills can provide. And just appreciate you for that.
No problem, man. Just trying
It's hard to get back on track after that.
I know, right?
I will
was so
say this,
smooth, though.
and I would caution Jay Hills because same thing. We said it after the Georgia game. Who we see on tape isn't going to be the same team that we play on the field. We're going to get their best version each and every week.
True.
And when I look at this Arkansas rosters, there's players on this team that can make an impact in this game. And if we know that we're going to get the best version of those guys, you know, we got a game plan and we got to come correct.
And I'm sure they showed the tape of the Tennessee game too. Like that was a big deal. Tennessee, I believe, was undefeated at the time when they came in there,
they were
lost
number
that
4.
game.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to get into it on the defensive side, and I'll throw this up to DJ or Oak on this one. This team, flat out, this is the best offense we played all year.
Yep.
I truly believe that. I mean, statistically, they are, and it's not even close. So this is. And I guess I'm taking Hill's challenge moment. Maybe I'm gonna steal it from him. But this is the moment where our defense, for all the as successful as they've been, I feel like there's that little bit of disrespect out there that's starting to creep in. Of Texas hasn't played anybody, Texas hasn't beaten this, that, this. This feels like that moment. And before I kick it to you, this offense is number 8 overall in yards. We're number 7, so they average 458 yards a game. They're averaging 28.4 points a game, which is they're tied for 51st with Georgia. So this team can play some offense, and this is the defense's chance. What do you do to prepare for an offense like this, a dynamic offense with a mobile quarterback?
Well, you got to neutralize their best player offensively. I think that receiver, to me, is a dog. Andrew Armstrong,
Yep.
I think in my eyes, he's an elite receiver in the SEC. So it starts there, and we have 2 elite corners. So I like our numbers over him. So the challenge for Arkansas would be, do they have another playmaker at the wide receiver position that can step up? Also, we can't talk about this Arkansas offense without talking about the quarterback. When you talk about, what's his name, Taylon Green, and he's a Texas boy from Louisville. Yeah. So, I mean, he's going to be motivated coming into the game. But just looking at him, he's an elite athlete. And honestly, he has the frame of a basketball player, of a hooper. It almost looks like Paul George is out there running zone reads and stuff. Yeah, so, I mean, when you got a long, lengthy, rangy athlete like that, to me, in my eyes, you got to put it on him. Yeah. Meaning whenever he scrambles, whenever he runs, you taking his legs out. You hitting him. You making him feel all the contact. Making him feel every single hit to kind of take him out of this game and make him be a little bit more hesitant when he is carrying the rock. So between neutralizing their one receiver, I'm not saying they only have one, but their elite receiver, and neutralizing this quarterback, I think that's the game plan right there.
We got the athletes to do it.
Yeah, we do.
You think about it, like some of the success that we've had up front against every opponent that we played is because no matter, and this sounds wild, but no matter who your most athletic offensive player is, we probably have somebody on the defense that's more athletic.
Mm-hmm.
No matter who you have if you think of like position on the opposite side, right? You look at your running back speed, our linebackers can probably match or beat it.
Mm-hmm.
You look at your DBs, your wide receivers length, we got lengthy DBs. We got lengthy safeties. We got intelligent players that are experienced on the back end. You look at the Hogs up front, name me a team that has a better rotation of 8 defensive linemen than we do.
Yeah.
Right, so when I look at like just the ingredients needed for success against those 2 things that you just named, I'm like, we got the pieces. Now, good on good is going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah.
Good on good is going to be very interesting, and I know they're going to win some of those reps. Right, that quarterback is a dog. I like that receiver's game, like you said, but yeah, I think that where we'll have an advantage is like we can match up with you skill for skill on the outside, and we can win the battle in the trenches.
And
and you want to take it over?
Yeah, you got to go.
I was just going real quick, and I just wanted to translate because he said the battle in the trenches. I will say that might present us a little bit of a problem. Like, they run the ball well in between the tackles, and if there was one weakness on this defense, and it might not even be a weakness, but just a way that you look at, if there's any way to attack our defense, it has to be in the middle.
Well, and DJ talked about that on the post-game show for Florida, because that was what we saw, and I guarantee you Arkansas watched that, because they go 3 deep at running back. They got some studs at running back. So what do you do, DJ, in an off week like that after you've shown that on tape? You can be better than that, but you've also got, I would venture to say, probably a better backfield than Florida, and Florida has a pretty darn good backfield.
Yeah, well, you can't look too deep into saying that we're, light or lack thereof when it comes to the running game, because when you're up against, we're going back to Florida, when you're up against Florida and you go up 14-0, 21-0, 28-0, you usually abandon the run, and so Coach PK is calling plays in a way where they says, all right, guys, don't give up the big ball. We're not gunning up for the run. You don't have to, but they kept running the ball, and we were a little leaky. We can have better technique to help out with that, but they were going to get some yards in the run game, man. Just because when you're up like that, you don't have to. They wasn't scoring either. So I don't.
And those yards that we talking about, DJ, came in the second half. It was 35-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
Right? Like the yards that we're talking about, frankly, did not come when it was a competitive game.
Yeah.
Florida wasn't running the ball effectively in the first half.
Yeah.
Florida wasn't dominating the line of scrimmage, running between the tackles in the first half.
Yeah.
They were barely crossing the 50-yard line in the first half.
Yeah.
The yards that we're talking about came when the game was pretty much completely out of hand. I don't know. I'm curious.
That makes sense. That's exactly right. For this game coming up, we do have to get stiffer in the run game. 200 yards is 200 yards, regardless of how you put it. That's what they did on us. And Arkansas will gear up to neutralize their passing attack and help this quarterback out. If you can run the ball, you can stay balanced, and it'll help you out. So we won't, affect the quarterback or get hits on the quarterback. But there's one thing that the Texas defense has not seen is that length at receiver. They have a 6'7" receiver. They got a 6'4" receiver. They got a 6'3" receiver. So when you not saying that I'm putting them saying they're superstars. I'm just telling you we haven't went against guys like that. We went against a lot of athletic, speedy guys. But now we got the length. We're number 1 in the country when it comes to pass defense. So this will be good to see us. And what's the technique? You're a shorter guy. So what's the technique? No. There's no knock. There's no knock. No, check it out. I already know where it's about. I already know where it's about to go. What's your mindset up when it's a 50-50 ball? You got a 6'7", 6'4" guys going up for the ball. You really are not trying to jump over them. You're trying to wait till they catch it because you're there. They're not faster than you, and then punch it out. Right?
Yeah. No, it's really all about positioning. At that point, you want to be in phase as much as possible. In phase when you got a chance to play the ball or play the ball through the receiver. But you're right, it's going to be a challenge. I mean, the truth is, Andrew Armstrong's the best receiver they faced. That's not even a question. And he's one of the top might be one of the top 10 best receivers in the country. I mean, he's legit.
Yeah.
And they are explosive on offense. They're not efficient. They're explosive. They're top 5 in the country actually in 10+ yard plays and 20+ yard plays.
I get that. Yeah.
In the country. And so Texas hasn't had to deal with a dual threat quarterback with that kind of explosive offense and with a receiver on the outside that presents problems. And I do wonder, since they don't put him in the slot a lot, he's usually on the outside. If this is the game, they put him in the slot, and then you can adjust putting Jade in the slot too to match up with him. You do have that versatility. So I think Texas will be fine, but there's no doubt. I mean, you're right. Texas has not faced an offense with this type of explosive potential.
Yeah, and they do have a really, really good tight end too. Luke Haas is a great tight end. So there's a ton of talent on this team. But let's pause that. We got to go to our first commercial break. We will be right back. Welcome back to Third and Longhorn. We are previewing number 3 Texas at Arkansas. And so before we wrap up the defensive side of the ball, Fozzy, I wanted to kick it to you about the running backs for Arkansas. I truly believe that's the strongest position on that team. Talk a little bit about that, if you would.
Yeah, they have the depth, and obviously Armstrong is set up because of what Taylor Green and Jaquindon Jackson are able to do in the run game. Jaquindon Jackson, former Texas player, Texas commit, highly rated, getting to play against Texas again. So there'll be some animosity about, his return to the field from his ankle injury if he's 100% healthy. The impact that he provides is he breaks tackles. And he is a very physical runner. And if you throw in a shoulder up in there, that's not enough. Like, you got to wrap up and hang on, because he's a guy that gets those yards after contact, and he makes it very much into a game that a lot of people don't want to see. Like, he's that type of physical, impose his will type of runner. He has 10 touchdowns on the season after missing some games because of that ankle injury. So he's extremely effective. Obviously, the run game with Taylor Green, the zone read, being able to stay at home, it's going to be great for the linebackers, especially Anthony Hill. My eyes are going to be on him. The younger guys that have to make sure that they don't commit all to what Jaquindon Jackson's doing, but making sure they still contain with what Taylor Green can do as the transfer from Boise. It's this run game helps set up everything, and they run complementary. To Rod's point, they're just not efficient from the standpoint of putting it into the end zone, but as far as moving the rock, that's what they do best, and they do it because they have a balanced approach with the run attack mirrored with what they do in the pass game.
And I think you made a great point that I don't think we covered truly, is that Jaquindon Jackson's been out with that ankle injury.
Yeah.
Taylor Green's been getting over a sprained knee as well. But they're coming into this game a little more fresh off their bye week, so they've been prepping for this one.
And off a loss.
Yeah,
It's true.
Loss and
They brewing, they stewing.
Yeah.
So they'll be
What they
ready.
brewing in there.
They're brewing.
A little bit of hate.
Brewing another L.
Well, let's get over to the Texas offense versus the Arkansas defense. I think obviously this Texas team did last week what everyone's been afraid of, where the offense shows up big time at the same time as the defense. I think that's the team that we've all been waiting for. So I'm gonna kick this one over to you, Fozzy. Go ahead and talk about what you expect to see from this offense versus the Arkansas defense.
Well, to begin with, we saw them get their mojo and their swagger back. That was something that Steve Sarkisian mentioned he wanted to see. That was something that we challenged them with, not saying they was doing good because we said it, but I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? We must have impact in some way, some form, or some fashion. I'm just playing. But ultimately, we saw Quinn playing at an elite level. And that's the Quinn that we had wanted to see for quite some time, and we hadn't seen it because of the inconsistencies, whether it was with the O-line giving up pressures, whether it was the lack of the complementary run game, or whether the connection with the receivers just wasn't there. And we saw a little bit of that happen in the first drive. And then after that, they nipped it in the bud, and man, the efficiency threw out of the roof. And the run game was exactly what it needed to be for Texas to hit on all cylinders. And I think that's where they continue to build off of the confidence that they were able to garner against Florida, and then go into a hostile environment where you're going to have those types of plays, especially in the ground game where Jerick Gibson ripped off some of those big runs, and being able to utilize that to neutralize what the crowd and the atmosphere may be.
Can we just real quick just take a second and talk about the 4th and 1 from his own 20?
That was a big momentum play.
You're right.
Dude,
No,
you're
you're
right.
right.
Big momentum play.
That's the
Game-changing
biggest play
Yeah.
of the game.
100%.
Absolutely.
You guys have watched a lot of football. You guys play in the league. You guys, how often have you seen a coach go for it on their own 24 on the floor?
So I will say
I'm sure it
this.
happens.
And
but-
give it to a true freshman.
And give it to a true
No, I will say this. I think the level of confidence that Sark showed in that moment was indicative of where he knew this team could go
Agreed.
against who they were playing
Yeah.
against. If they playing against Georgia, you don't see that.
I agree.
No,
I
no.
totally
You're playing against
totally
like
agree.
Bama, you playing against Tennessee. Like,
Agreed.
you
So
don't
you're
see
saying he was disrespectful to the floor. He's like, y'all so damn sorry.
what-
I'm going to go for it on
what I think-
24.
And give it to an 18.
Who ain't told it to rock in how long? Who's that time?
right.
We had to give it to him in
that's
a while.
true.
That's true.
Yeah, in a while.
It's
I'll
been a
admit.
I
when-
love
when I-
testicular fortitude.
When
I'll
I
give it to
seen
him.
the result of the play,
It was great.
I immediately said, "That's why you get paid to coach." In my mind, this offense is so bad. Don't give them nothing. Like that's. But hey, that's why I'm sitting here talking about him going to coach. Okay, like that's why he.
I think part of it was frustration, though. Think about the first
Absolutely.
drive, right? First drive, you know, Sark's been dialing up this script, right? He had the bye week,
Absolutely.
so they go down. They don't even have a second down, I don't think, on the first 4 plays. It was like a 10-yard,
Boom.
a 12-yard, a
Yeah.
20-yard rolling. You get all the way down there, and what Sark say last week? What's killing us is we end up with these negative plays at one point, a penalty, a tackle for loss, something, and then the whole damn drive
Yeah.
seems to be lost and wasted. And that's exactly what happened on the first drive. They get the tackle for loss for 7 yards, then they get the sack, and then they miss the field goal. And Sark's got to be thinking to himself, "You got to be effing kidding me!" Like, wait,
exactly what
those
I
are
think
horrific
about.
plays. And then the second drive starts, and then they end up with I think he misses Bond, right, on that
Yeah.
first
Right.
one. They end up great defensive call by
Touchdown,
Florida
Bond.
on the second play where they drop the defensive end, almost gets a pick. on
Almost.
that
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then they have Quinn scramble on the third down and get 9
got
yards.
9, yeah.
And then Sark, I think it was just emotion. I think
It
he was so
was.
upset.
He was
He's
not
like,
ready to come off the field.
yeah,
No, we're not doing this.
so
not
I'll
doing
give it
that.
to him. It worked out, but what a gutsy call. And then right after that, he knows exactly the play he's going to call. Because that's when he dials up the fake in reverse, ending around
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Bond.
44
Let's,
yards.
let's
Yes.
spend about 10 minutes on that thing. 'cause
Yeah,
that thing,
no,
that
but I
was-
just want to
that
throw
was
it out
nuts.
there.
I still can't figure out the mechanics
incredible.
of that.
I watched it like
It was
30
amazing.
times.
Rewind it
Bro.
so many times.
Yeah.
I just pick somebody to watch that person.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, so
Your
he did
responsibility
this.
on this play.
And that's what I really want to know is like what I know we had all those moving parts, but what was the reasoning for those moving parts? Like which players were we taking out the frame on all
Yeah.
those different
Everybody
pieces?
was repurposed. Nibbler did the most. Nibbler had the cross
Yep.
the formation motion, then
then
the
come
orbit
back.
motion, and then he's the fake guy. They fake
Yep.
it to him
Yep.
first,
Fake it to
and
him
then he
and the
becomes the
lead.
lead blocker.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Dude, I'll say that play was
That's
more
cold.
disrespectful than the fourth
It
down.
was. That
He's
was straight
like,
up
You
disrespect
go back
drive.
and watch that play and don't watch none of the Longhorns. Just watch Florida. Them dudes was like,
Yeah, they were like, what?
dude, they're going.
There we go.
They look like Lil Kim. They look like, I was like, you go back and watch Florida. I'm like, I don't even blame y'all, man. There's no way you can prepare for this
Nah,
play.
you can't
So,
process.
But what I do love that Sark is doing he's putting that reverse world or whatnot phase inside the running game. So
Yep.
that's part of that
That's part of the
being
running
efficient at the run game. Like,
is.
You don't have to have if you have 200 yards in rushing, it doesn't have to be all from the backs, right? It can be from a few reverses and. Fake reverses help out the run game as
Absolutely.
well.
They do,
So,
because all of it's
as you know.
misdirection that he naturally bakes into. Yeah.
Nobody does it better than the 49ers. Nobody.
Yeah.
Which know,
Nobody does it.
And Sark loves the Shanahan offense.
Nobody does it
One
better.
quick thing before we move on, though. The reason that play was so special was not because of Sark's testicular fortitude, which was amazing, and the freshman that he put out
Yeah.
there as well, the risk he took there, because he knew that's my best down here runner. It was they didn't get it initially, guys. It was
Yeah.
a culture play. They stopped him.
Yeah.
The football guys were like, hell no, we ain't giving you that.
If
And they
you
stopped
watch
him.
that, if
can't
you
do
watch
that.
that, he was like when it was panned out, it was like, oh,
literally
he's got
stopped
this,
moving.
he's got this easy, and
And
then
then-
that guy stuck his arm out right there
Oh,
and
yeah.
just stopped Jerick, and I was like, oh no.
And then Gunnar Helm comes from the back, starts pushing him, and then
Yeah.
Bowen Day. So that was why it was a great culture play. Anyway, let's continue. I just want to throw that
Oh,
out.
thank you.
Yeah,
That's
it was
it looked good. And that's what we bring into Arkansas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put a nice bow on it. Well, also a big talking point in this is Arkansas's defense allows 420 yards per game overall. So, but they allow 300 passing yards a game, which is a bad sign for them against us. And I think that's going to be something that we can definitely attack. And let's go to Rod. I want to hear your thoughts on that. Like, you've watched this defense. How do you attack it?
Oh, they're gonna do what Ole Miss did basically. And Ole Miss threw for, what was it, 700 some yards?
That's the script, right?
That is a script. I mean, this pass defense. Unfortunately, I brought my own notes.
Here we go.
You got
I have to make sure I get the numbers right. So, 125th in pass defense, 116th in passer rating allowed, 100th in completion percentage allowed, 111th in yards per attempt allowed, 105th in 10-plus yard plays allowed. Yeah, they're
What you need
defense.
ChatGPT for?
Yeah.
We got Rod.
right here. Okay.
Yeah, their pass defense.
Almanac.
They're in trouble. Their rush defense, actually, I think they can hold up. And if y'all allow those, they got a couple of edge guys, Landon Jackson being one of them, who can wreak havoc. But other than that, guys, if Texas offense plays like they did versus Florida, and this is a better team defense in Florida, but not by much. It's not that much better. I think if Quinn is looking like the Quinn that we saw, closer to the Quinn that was prior to the injury, Texas they'll be able to have their way offensively with them in the passing game.
And I will say they turn the ball over well, like their defense does. They have eight interceptions this year, 4 forced fumbles and 4 recovered as well. So they can do that. And I think that's something to look out for. But I totally agree. If you've watched that, if you haven't watched it, I'd tell you to go watch that Ole Miss game against Arkansas. Jackson Dart was
Ole Miss got 4 receivers right now that have 500 more yards receiving.
Look good.
It
look good.
Receivers that
And they
have
can rush the
500
pass.
more yards.
They got rushed.
we're getting off track here, but I agree.
No, he's
like
right.
it is.
The one receiver had 254 yards receiving against them.
Right.
Is it? Jordan Watkins.
Yeah,
from-
Jordan Watkins.
Come on,
and
man.
the combination of him and Trey Harris.
Didn't he have 4 touchdowns? What do you have?
I think
Was
it was.
that-
Yo, you're right.
He had 4 or 5 touchdowns.
Yep, he did. Yep.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was like 4 early.
It's
too.
crazy.
Like,
Yeah, 5 touchdowns actually. School record. He got a school record in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns versus Arkansas.
And that was the first week I think Trey Harris was out.
Oh my goodness. y'all want to talk to me about them showing up upset. Don't be upset with me.
It's going to be a different atmosphere. Man, Hills always has to just throw
Bulletin
some
board
bulletin
material.
board material.
Every
We
time,
cannot
bro.
get out
You
of
upset with me? You upset with me?
guy.
That's misplaced anger. Y'all need to turn towards each other.
Because he be
We try to
talking like
respect our opponent.
he be
man.
talking like it's gonna be a blowout, and then when he does his prediction, it'd be
It's like
7 to 10 points.
35-17.
They're evening out.
He was the worst one. We talked him out of
He was.
we talked him out of
He
17
was.
points.
We wasn't gonna allow that after you was talking.
Well, I think we can put a bow on that offensive side. I think that's obviously the side that we're going to feel best about. So before we get to the next break, I'm going to go ahead and get into the special teams part early here. So Arkansas they actually started the season with a different kicker. He got injured and kind of struggled. So they have Matthew Shipley, who I did deep research. He's a Hawaii transfer. So, I went deep into the kicker.
Okay.
Kicker. And you have to Google a little harder on kickers and punters, man. You can't find it. You got to scroll down the page. You got to do all this stuff. You got to look for articles 38 deep.
page 3.
Yeah,
It's dark web.
Yes, seriously. There's a big market for a kicker punter website out there. Shout outs if you've already done that. But yeah, Matthew Shipley's now taking over. He's 13 to 13 on extra points, 6 to 8 on field goals. With a long of 55 and 31 points. He's done well. They do have a really, really good punter. Devin Bale is a solid punter. Hopefully we see a lot of him. We can watch him punt beautifully the entire game. But he's averaging 48 yards a punt. And so this is the real deal. And so Michael Kern on our side is averaging 41 yards a punt. At the long of 52, but he does have 7 inside the 20, and their punter only has 5 inside the 20. And then Bert Auburn currently 46 of 46 on extra points. He's been super solid there. 6 and 9 on field goals. We had another miss, but that's all right because the Florida kicker missed as well. So I'm just making excuses. Anyways, he's up to 64 points this year. Exactly. So I don't know how to call it on the special team side, but we'll see. So hopefully we just see a lot of their punter.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and head to our second commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have predictions as well as some other fun facts that we can chat about. Welcome back to Third and Longhorn, and before we get into the predictions and the part that I know everybody's excited about, I did see the obviously. Jerick Gibson, we talked really good about him getting that first down, but he also put the ball on the ground. So Sark did say that he has been having him carry the ball all over campus. He can't not have it. Has people checking in on him, all these kind of things. So I wanted to. I think it's a great idea. Higgs had this idea of like, when you guys were playing, and I know two of y'all were running backs, but I don't think you guys had to do it. But do any of you guys have stories about that when you were at Texas about guys that had to do that?
I specifically remember. I don't remember what year it was, but it had to be my sophomore year, then, right? Because if Vondrell was there, but a good friend of mine.
79.
Hold on. not Fozzy sophomore, but Vondrell McGee. Shout out to Vondrell McGee. He was not happy, man. He had put the ball on the ground a couple times, and Vondrell was super talented,
Absolutely.
right? He could do all the things, right? But he had put the ball on the ground a couple times, and Major made him carry the ball around. Major Applewhite made him carry the ball around, but then he added like an additional
the weighted
it was
ball.
the weighted ball, and he had to turn it in before practice, and then he was returning the ball after practice.
Wow.
And he said, if anybody else turns that ball in to me, it's gonna be a bad day for you. So, but everybody else was rewarded for trying to turn the ball back. So it was like John Wick. You just had all these people. You had all these contracts on Vondrell, man. People was trying to, like, he would just be walking and people would be coming, over. They coming with the DJ punch. They doing everything. Vondrell he was not happy because like throughout the day people are grabbing on him and like you know what I mean. But
does that actually help? Y'all are running back.
Yeah,
Does
that's
that?
a
Great
help?
question. Yeah.
Does it?
Like, does it psychologically? I think it makes you so aware of it. You know what I mean? Like, so in that regard, maybe does it actually? Is it a drill that I would incorporate?
It's more of a punishment.
It's more of a punishment, and then punishment is simply like children, right? I'm trying to bring your attention to something I don't like.
Yeah.
So
So the
like,
concentration part.
yeah,
right?
Get what
Like
you
that's-
emphasize.
Yeah. So that's
You put the ball on the
that's what it
ground,
is.
you get embarrassed by having to walk
Yeah.
around with campus.
Damn right.
Exactly.
It's like it's the
If
walk of shame.
The walk of shame.
The walk of shame. If it does,
penance.
if it really does anything, I would say like during back drills or tracks or even in your individual drills, as a back, you're consciously thinking about where am I holding this football?
Yeah.
Like how? Because I mean, you get out there, you playing, you doing some moves or whatever you trying to do.
By the way, I'm just going back on when we're watching film with Texas, when you see guys making moves, coaches will pause the film.
If it's out.
Hey guys, here goes the opportunity. So when he's making a move, you're the second guy in. Boom. I mean, that's just how it is. Yeah.
And it's usually incorporated into the scouting report. Like
Yeah.
if somebody has poor ball security, whenever you're giving that
They
scouting
put it out
report,
there to everybody.
It's
Hey.
like number so-and-so,
Yep.
rip at this thing.
Yep.
So if it's a back for y'all, then right for the defensive guys, if it like let's say it's y'all see on the tape, number 3 has poor ball security. Before you get down in your stance, if you see number 3 back there, does that go through your mind?
It does.
It's more of, it does go through your mind, but it's more of just habits that you build throughout the week. So whenever we're playing somebody with poor ball security, very first drill of practice is going to be punch out drill or rip out drill. And you just do that each and every day throughout the week to give you those good habits. So it is conscious on my mind, but it's more of just a habit that you build through the week.
And Texas does it every week. That's what they do.
that
Well,
should
Sark
be.
actually runs that drill, so it's a high intensity drill.
starts off
and
like that.
and it's not just scout team guys has the ball. No, it's starters have the ball and they're going through and they call it stumble bumble or something like that. But defensive guys are trying to pull it out, and the starters are having the ball like this.
You know what's you just actually I don't know. I just got a memory of that drill with him.
Flashback.
Here we go.
Is this positive or negative?
Immediately, I just got annoyed with right now because I remember tall man, he be sweating all on you and he ripping and punching and breathing. I'm like, bro, get off of me.
Ripping and punching and breathing.
Off me, man. Oak get and Oak don't really talk during, so like he just kind of like hop up and jog back to what he was doing. I'm like, God.
Another question I do want to ask Jay, because to your point, the ball security, that's mama's heart, right? We talked about it. That's mama's heart. How big of a difference was it going from like actual pigskin to leather.
Oh my gosh! I thought it was gonna be a real question.
No, I'm telling you, his dry delivery is awesome. It really is. He gets everybody like, "Oh, what you talking? Oh,
Are you talking leather helmet or the ball?
really mine. Oh man.
Let's move on, guys.
Does anybody else have any stories of guys who were newer there, like had to go through that
I
same
don't
process?
really remember many of the guys. Like I didn't participate if it ever got to that. We had Hodges Mitchell was our running back and Sid Benson, so those guys were pretty sure-handed running backs. Yep. I do think though that they should open it up to let all student athletes participate.
Oh,
so CDC should let all student athletes, not just football
trying to have
players.
somebody catch an assault.
Yeah,
case.
CDC
seriously,
should open
somebody
it
gets
up.
injured.
You should open it up, man. That way it is real like John Wick. Everybody's coming at you, man. Shot put people, track and field,
frat kids.
swimming and diving.
It's gonna be like
Open
the
it up.
purge.
They gotta sign a waiver though.
Yeah.
Like whenever I held the ball or just in general, I was always taught like your other hand is still a weapon.
Huh? So you go put stiff on you. Right? Hey, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. That's
Some
also
student
fair.
comes at Fozzy.
Yes, if you
It's a
come,
natural reaction.
if you come at the ball carrier, you also make it stiff on.
I can-
CDC should put that.
I can imagine a frat bro going to class like, dude, you won't believe what you're learning.
No frat bros.
He's got a black eye.
Only student athletes.
Fozzy Whittaker.
Only student
just
athletes.
stiff armed me.
You can't have students doing it because they don't know what they're doing. They're gonna come in and slap you in the face. Get punched in the
DJ, he's
face.
like,
no,
I'm serious.
no. Only student athletes, dude. I'm serious. I am.
Sign that waiver first.
Exactly. There you go. It's all good.
All right, well, let's get into it. Let's go ahead and get to the game predictions this week. Hills, I'm gonna give it to you first since you're so confident. So you're gonna set the precedent here. Let's hear it.
Okay, here we go. This is what happens.
Bulletin board.
It's tough early. It's tough early. You know, like they got a wave of emotion. They're coming off a bye week. You're probably gone. They've had 2 weeks now to just work on Texas film and nothing else, right? So they're coming in. They're prepared. They're playing hard. They didn't go to Texas. Yada yada yada, right? Yeah. And then midway through the first quarter, it starts to settle in. The game starts to really go. And the crowd realizes that they didn't actually put on pass today. And that the only people that can actually get them a chance are the people on the field. And then it starts to pull away. So, all right. But, you know, they got a field goal. They don't finish well in the red zone. They got a field goal. It's 17-3 midway through the second. The game continues to go on. It may even be 17-10 at some point.
It's like a play-by-play.
You look up, and all of a sudden, you're like, man, we were up 38-17 with the ball. Can Texas run the clock out? And our 4-minute offense does what they need to do, and we go home 38-17.
Man, I had that exact score.
No, you didn't.
I 100% did.
Oh, you
See, I'm 100%.
know
Y'all
you
even.
So
We're
all three of y'all
going to
the
start
same.
writing them down.
38-17, bro.
Right,
I had
These
30
guys are a perfect example of like credit for the group
No.
project. Like they didn't.
I'm gonna start making y'all write down
You should
beforehand.
text it in. We should text it.
What you got, Rob?
Text it in.
Since you different.
No, I was actually pretty close to that too.
I was too.
I'll go. I think they're gonna be able to move the ball a little bit against it. They got some explosive weapons, so I'll give them 16 points. I think they get 16 or 17. I'll go 16. So I don't want to copy Jay Hills. So I'll go 35-16.
And I'm gonna switch mine just for you. I'm gonna give Bert. I'm gonna give Bert 3 more
You're a
because so I don't
cheater,
copying him. No, I'm not copying. I'm going 41-17.
41-17.
Go ahead.
You're being a cheater.
No.
38-20, and I am
good.
authentic with my score. I don't change.
Where does the 20 come from? Like just like
Well,
you just.
They move the ball.
They just move the
and
It's
with
2
the
touchdowns
hate
and 2 field goals.
that they have,
So you're giving 3 points to hate.
I gave the 3 points to hate.
Okay.
And it's gonna be late, like you said.
Yeah.
It's gonna be one of them late ones, late field goals. That's all.
So I'm with Jay Hills. I'm 38-17.
Glad you
He did it
authentic.
early on. It'll be 17-3, maybe 17-10, but eventually we will pull away and it'll be nothing but a burnt orange in the stands.
So I'm gonna go 34-24, a tad bit closer.
Okay,
I think the script plays out the way y'all laid out the game script.
I laid that.
How Jay laid the game script, but instead of the 17-3, I think it's gonna be a little more uncomfortable. I think it's gonna be like 10-7 early on, like maybe with even Arkansas leading at one point. But I think as the game progresses, I think we open it up and we're continuing to get back to ourselves. And when I say back to ourselves, that means Michigan. That's the standard for us, right? This season, Michigan or beyond that. And I think we continue to get to that by the end of this game.
All right. Well, we got a little bit of time left, so I want to cover one more thing before we get out of here, and I want to talk about. I think we did a better job of it last game, but it's still a topic of conversation. Is the penalties? What and it obviously and I think the key last game was, and we talked about this on the post game show, is it's a lot of it is the timing of the penalties, right? The timing of the turnovers. All these things are what shift the game. But I think we only had one last game that was really like a poorly timed penalty, and it says there's never a good one. What and Derrick, you probably know the answer to this. Like what do we do to continue to get better at not getting penalties?
Oh man, you got to focus. You got to focus. And when you talk about penalties, we're more so talking about the offensive line and the holding calls, right? That's been the big deal. Just being able to be more technique sound, getting your hands in the inside, and we know offensive linemen hold every play, right? So you can call it, but is it that dramatic, or are you in good position that if the guy is not in front of you, do you let him go? You just got to be smart with that, and it kills drives, just like Sark is saying. That creates negative plays. That puts Quinn in a compromising situation where he really has to hold the ball, and you don't want guys to tee off on our quarterback, but just making it an emphasis every week. Like even when it's good, like still saying, hey guys, great job, not getting a lot of penalties or whatever, but that needs to be a thing where you put up in front of the board, in front of the team about penalties, just so everybody's aware of it. It's just so you can make a conscious effort to change it.
Makes sense.
And then one thing with that, like especially with the offensive line, I think most O linemen may disagree with you that they holding on every play.
Oh,
but
They do. That's the only way.
But what I was about to say, like you show me a lot of holding penalties for the most part. I want to look at their feet. You normally get guys holding when their feet get tired or lazy, right? And I don't think we have tired and lazy linemen, right? But what I want to see on the road, and what I will agree is a hostile environment, is like how are we handling the communication, the pre-snap stuff, right? The stuff that is fully in our control, right? The false starts, the illegal formations. Like, are we all set? Do we all know what we're supposed to be doing? Are we communicating shift and changes? Like, how are we handling playing in a hostile environment? And then I think if we come on Saturday afternoon, evening, if all of us can sit here and we're happy with how we handled that, I think that will be like on the scoreboard. That's going to directly translate to the scoreboard, right? You get a Oak and he can make you hold. That rusher, that pass rush is so good. They can make you hold, right? I don't think that we'll get a lot of those. Right, depending on where the refs are from. Are they from Fayetteville?
Yeah, they do got good players though. They got Jackson.
But I'm saying, I think like when we come back and we look at, if we didn't do anything else but looked at time of possession and looked at our penalties before we looked at the score, I think the score will be a reflection of what we see there.
Yeah.
Quick changing subjects here. Quick story, real quick. It's just 20 years ago, so I'm
When Jay Hill
out there. No. That was before
he was recruiting me.
So 20 years ago, 2004, we played in Arkansas. You got McFadden. What's the tall quarterback that they had? Matt Jones. Woo, he was fast. And then because you played him in 2002, huh?
No, but I remember Matt Jones.
Okay, yeah. So you had McFadden. You got all these guys, Peyton Hillis and whatnot. And we're going out there. Knew it was going to be a tough crowd or whatnot. And I usually don't go out there I'm not usually the one that's talking for the coin flip or whatnot. So I go out there. Nobody knows this, by the way. If you watch that actual TV copy, when we go out there, everybody's saying, hey, whatever you do, we want to kick the ball. Okay. That's all I'm thinking. We're gonna kick the ball. All right, cool. I go out there. I'm round up. I'm ready to go. They win the toss. They deferred.
I already know what you're gonna say.
Listen, this happened. This has happened.
You gave them the ball in the second half.
Listen, they say they just I'm jacked up. They ready to go. Hey, what you want? Hey, we're kicking it. We're kicking it. They say, you kicking it?
sure
Yeah,
you
I'm
wanna do
kicking
that?
it. Let's go. We're kicking it this way. Coach told us this way.
Oh, no. At the start of the first and the start of the third.
Listen, we won the game 22-20, and I gave him an extra possession.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long was that on your mind? Like, how long?
I always remember. I'm glad we won that game.
I'm glad
No, I'm saying, DJ, at what point
when
during
have
the
you ever
actual
told-
game
Oh,
did
when-
you put, like,
when I went to the,
off
when I was
your
going to
mind?
the sideline,
You had
they
to.
was like, they won the toss. They deferred.
How'd they-
Hey, why are we kick? I'm like, I thought you
See, we
said
was
kick it,
kicking
coach.
it.
You said. And they were real nice about it. No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I know they was pissed.
You're all American.
You can't yell at DJ.
You all American, bro.
You can't yell at DJ. If that was anybody else, then
immediately
We need you in this game.
cussing DJ out. Don't get me the ball back.
No.
And
I think
need DJ focused.
I think we got
I
a
can't live
turnover.
without him.
Something happened for us that first drive or something like that. Something happened for the
evened
defense,
out.
so it evened out.
So,
But
okay.
I gave him the ball twice.
Wow.
I did.
Man,
Great
man, what a
confession right there.
what a great way to end
And
this.
you never said that.
I never
Second
said
half of that
People
story,
still on it.
DJ
They
like,
what?
and
They
I
gonna
had
go back and look.
500 on Arkansas.
Yeah.
And I had 500 on Arkansas.
Oh, we get a safety, and we
Safety.
freaking win by
Two.
2 points.
That's
We get a safety.
crazy.
There you go.
Look at the football guy.
Man.
That is crazy.
Love
man.
it.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I
That's
appreciate
awesome.
the confession.
I
I
know.
don't want to.
That was embarrassing.
No drive.
Yeah, no, we don't need to do that. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in. Don't forget to drop your score predictions in the comments. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your favorite, whether it's Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Appreciate everybody out there.
If you get the score right, Shuley's buying you a shirt.
Not true. Not true.
Yeah, doing it.
He's doing it. We'll see y'all after the post game or after the game for the post game. Hook 'em.